Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Dramaturgy Podcast. In this episode, I am going to be covering the recently aired Thai BL drama titled 4 Minutes. I have a lot to say about this drama because while I was not expecting it, I was not anticipating it in any way. I think that it's doing so many things well that I feel like I have to talk about it. For those who don't know, 4 Minutes basically follows this student called Great. He's a college student that is the son of a wealthy businessman, and out of nowhere, he gains the power to see 4 minutes into the future. From what I can tell, it's 4 minutes into any part of the future. It doesn't have to be like 4 minutes in the present time. So, Great is, as you can expect, kind of distraught, kind of shocked, kind of just like, what the hell is going on about this new power he's gained. And this is when he meets Time, who is a surgeon at a hospital, and it's from this they get to know each other and our story progresses. I really like this synopsis because it really doesn't spoil anything, but for those who are listening to this, I will spoil things. So if you've not seen the first 2 episodes, you should probably watch that before you listen to this podcast. So from what I can tell, there are 2 versions of this drama. There is the regular one, and I guess there is the sultrier version. I am watching the sultrier version, and it's definitely sultrier. I wouldn't say that it goes past sultry. This is like genuinely NC-21. So, I was shocked by the first episode, and I imagine a lot of people were as well. But honestly, I have a very good impression of the first 2 episodes. I feel like it was well done, and if they continue on this route, this might be one of the best BLs ever, because I love Thailand as much as the next person, but production wise, I would say they are far behind other like Asian countries. So seeing this production, I am actually quite shocked by how good it is. And I am actually quite shocked at how much it's keeping my attention. And maybe I shouldn't have been. Beyond Cloud is new to the game, but they've produced some really, really good dramas, right? So they produced Kim Posh, they produced Dead Friends Forever, and then this. So they are obviously a company that takes their production very seriously, and it shows, as opposed to like he who shall not be named. So I am actually very happy with the production of this, and that's why I decided that this would be what I'll talk about in this episode. This drama stars Bible as Great, the college student, and it stars Jess as Time, the surgeon. It also stars Bass as Korn, Great's older brother, but from a different mother. So they are half siblings, but it seems from what I can tell that they get along quite well, despite, the fact that they are not from the same mother. Fuaz, Chris Tonkla, who is, I would say he is Korn's sugar baby. Because obviously they have something going on, but like it's not a real relationship. It's more like on the side, because I know Korn has a girlfriend, right? You also have Win, who is played by JJ, who I am pretty sure he's the one that is in a like ship with Fuaz. So I feel like that's the end goal, even though right now Fuaz's character is with Bass. So, I'm pretty sure they are the end goal. So there are a lot of people in this, a lot of like people from Kim Porsche, a lot of people from Dead Friends Forever. And so generally everybody's recognizable to me, at least to an extent, or most people are. But yeah, that's it on the cast. I don't want to spend too much time on them because I really want to get into the nitty gritty of this show and what I think about it. Again, I had no impression about what this drama would be about when I first started watching this. Yes, I knew like the character Grade was a college student going forward in time to see the future. But that was kind of all they told us. But watching the first episode and then the second episode, there's actually a lot more that's going on. And one thing that, has really stuck out to me, just watching the first 2 episodes, is the cinematography in this. The color, the lighting of this is very like somber. It is very like gritty in a way. There are not a lot of colors in this, I feel like, and I think that just speaks to how like serious this drama is supposed to be, right? And I really like it. I really like how they've shot like different scenes, and even though it's it's not what I would normally watch, I like how they've put you in a particular like mindset to like see things as serious. So like even though grade is a color student, you don't get that vibe because of like how things are shot and how like the color grading is, right? You can immediately tell that this isn't for like a young audience. I don't know who shot this, I don't know who directed this and who wrote this, but I feel like they have something good. It's very rare in Thai VLs to have this level of like budget, and like it just shows how amazing like of an effort they've put into this. Another thing that I think stood out to me watching this was the fact that the main character are great, and just generally a lot of characters are gray, in the sense that no one is like a good person. Everybody is somewhat on that spectrum of they are just a bit terrible, but they are not like the worst people you've ever met, right? So they are very human in that way. So for example, Great, he is a person that, I mean, comes from a rich family, everything, and so I feel like it would have been just a little bit unrealistic if he was also like a really nice and sweet person, but that's not how he appears. Like, this is someone that you can tell he's a rich person's son, right? And he acts that way to an extent, in that he's very nonchalant, he's very like for himself only kind of behavior. And so when he hits the lady on the road, and his first instinct is to run away, right? I was like, that actually kind of makes sense. I hate to see it in like my main character, because I always like to relate to my character to an extent, but like it made sense that like he would be the kind of person to like do a hit and run. And so like I like the fact that they gave us that moment of his weakness and showed us that he's kind of selfish. And so even though the second time around he decides to save her, like it was not before they showed us that he had a little bad in him, and I like that. Funny enough, it's his brother Korn that is seemingly the more innocent of the two, in that I feel like Korn's reaction to his father's underground dealings was from a very like innocent point of view. Like he was shocked that his dad was involved in this kind of like world, right? That his dad was doing illegal stuff, right? To an extent, I guess he didn't know this, and so you could tell that he was stressed when he, goes and sees Tonkla, that this is something that his father is involved with, because he had no idea, and you can tell he's kind of like a little against it with the way he acts, or the way he acted in the scene where he's actually inside that place, right? And so it's interesting to me that like it's the one I would think that was gonna be like the villain, because he's the half brother and all these things, that's actually a little nicer. You also see that scene where as he drives off, he decides to come back, because I guess he can see that Great is a little like agitated about something, he's a little worried about him, and so he comes back. He even stops Great from smoking, he tells him he's bad for you, right? And so you can tell that his personality is actually the nicer or the sweeter of the two brothers, right? And that's kind of interesting to me, right? Although I say that, but at the same time he's cheating on his girlfriend, right? Or on his fiance with Tonkla, right? And I mean, that's a whole other story. I know a lot of people hate him for that, but I can't bring myself to hate him for that for some reason. I don't know why. Because it seems like it's just that's the world they are in. People do that, I guess. And so I am not like really against the fact that he's that kind of person, especially given that I feel like that's the arrangement that they have, right? So that's, I guess, his only like issue, but otherwise I feel like he's actually a very nice person, and he's a very sweet like older brother to Great, right? In the way that I'm actually like a little worried about him, given that like I feel like Great's mother is actually a proper like villain or a vulture that is like doing this to somehow like take what should belong to Korn because he's the older brother, right? And so I mean, we'll see as time goes on if that's what it is, if I'm like if I'm the one that's overreacting. But that's what it feels like, right? That he's gonna somehow get in trouble about this whole scenario, about this whole investment thing that he's gotten involved with because his dad has pushed him to do this, right? Tonkla is the other one I would say that again looks like a cinnamon roll and actually is not, right? He is basically a sugar baby. He is a lot more than they show you, right? I mean, I feel like me and everybody that watched the first episode was shocked by that scene that he had with Korn, and like it was like a lot, right? But there's something to point out in that one scene, in that like I feel that that relationship is not going to work out, because again, I feel like what they want is different. I feel like for Korn, he just wants somebody to have sex with, whereas for like Tonka, he's looking for someone for emotional support. He's looking for an actual relationship, and I feel like that's probably where Win, the police officer, is gonna come in and like be that person for him, right? I don't know if there's gonna be a love triangle or if Korn is just gonna like be okay with that, like, but we'll see. But again, back to like that sex scene, it was a lot. It was like really well done, I would say. They showed a lot, but not to the point where I was like averse to it, like, if that makes sense. There are some scenes or some sex scenes that I'm like, I don't want to watch this, right? But this one wasn't like that. Like, it seemed like they were showing us something, because it seemed like the intent was to show us that Korn was somebody that like chases his own pleasure, and like Tonka, just gives into that. So it wasn't necessarily like just pointless. It had meaning to like seeing their dynamic. I was able to like source out what their dynamic was from that scene, right? And I assume that the sex scene with Tonka and Win is gonna be different, because I feel like Win is going to be more considerate. It's not that Korn isn't considerate, but like you could tell that like it wasn't about Tonkla's like feelings during sex. I mean, he, at the end of the day, he did help Tonkla finish, but like it wasn't about him, because I feel like he just goes there to relieve a lot of his stress, right? That's what Tonkla is for him, and I feel like with Win is going to be different. So that scene was very useful. I feel like it was important to like helping me understand their dynamic, and so I do appreciate it, and it was very, very well done. And it's a little iffy, because like I feel like Fowles, the guy that's playing Tonka, is really young to be playing this. Like, what was I doing at 18? I don't know what I was doing at 18, but like it definitely wasn't this. So like there is that. One thing I will say on Tonkla is that by episode 2, it seems that like he's the one bashing in someone's head in the first like scene, and like you're not sure if it's him or if it's somebody else, right? And I think that this is also how we get to know that this all like drama is shot out of sequence. It's not following like a progressive timeline. They jump between times, and so I'm assuming that what's happening with Tonkla is something that's gonna be happening in the future, but they're showing it to us now. And so I wonder what is about, who he's like murdering basically, but we'll see in the future. One thing I will say is that that scene where Win finally meets Tonkla again. The guys in these dramas are interesting. Like the love interests of our like characters, Great and Tonkla. Like I find them so funny, because it's when like our leads are going through something that these ones are falling in love. Which I find very funny. So the scene where Tonka is basically like crying over his brother's dead body, right? That's when Win is falling in love. And you see it in his expression that like he's falling in love with this guy, right? In fact, I wasn't so sure if that was the like expression I was getting from him, or that was like the feeling I was getting from him, until he showed up in Tonka's house. And Tonka is asking him if he does like house visits for everybody that like the police like has to like interact with. So that was very funny to me, that like Wayne was basically falling in love when like Tonka was crying over his brother's dead body. And same with like Time and Grace. Like it's when like I feel that Great is going through a lot and basically stressing about the fact that he can suddenly see into the future, that time is like trying to seduce him and ask for his line ID. And it's just funny to me. I really like that scene, the scene where they are in the skating like park, and he's basically putting all moves on Great, but Great is like it's like just like a lot has happened to him, so he's not like really feeling it. I felt like and you see Time's face every time he says something like cringe or something that's just awkward and out of place, and you see him cringe in his mind. Like you see him like have that moment of like, oh God, I should not have said that. And I just have to give it to like the actor that's doing Jess. He's new to like Beyond Cloud. This is his first, well, second work with Bible. And so he's pretty new to like BL. I know he's like acted before and he's an actor. Like so this isn't new to him for sure. I was glad to see that because you could tell that he's like a proper actor and knows how to act. And so that moment where he's like cringing in his own mind and like he's doing that but we can see him cringe. I just love it because I was like in that moment I was like, yes, this is acting, because very rarely do you see like this level of detail in like BL like dramas. And so I loved it so much in that moment. I burst into laughter when he did that. But yeah, it was obvious that like he found great hot like immediately he saw him and he was just on him, and liked him immediately, right? Although at the end of episode 2 you see that he's also maybe doing this for a reason. There's like an ulterior motive to why he might be targeting grades and putting moves on grade. I feel like there isn't. He might be targeting Grade's family or something of that sort. But I feel like he genuinely is attracted to Grade, right? And he genuinely like wants to like take this boy out, right? So I feel like he does like Grade, finds him like hot and everything. The fact that he's also like obviously doing some nefarious things in the background, trying to find information about them for some reason, is beside the point. But I'm sure he knows that like Great is great. Great is part of this family, right? But I don't think that he's doing this because of that. Like I don't think he's like putting on moves on Great because of his family necessarily, because again that moment where he's cringing, that was like genuine. Like he was genuinely like embarrassed about how he like put on moves, right? And so I feel that like there's going to be more in that way, but I don't think that I am going to doubt his like intentions with Great as of yet, but we'll see if that changes. So generally I would say that I am enjoying this a lot. I feel like this drama keeps me on edge because there's just so much that could happen and I can't like guess what it would be. And so I just love that, right? I love when I can't like guess what the plot will be, right? Because again, they've built up so many points that like it's difficult to see what will happen, right? I don't know if this is gonna end up like dead friends forever, in that like I feel like a lot of characters died that like I was not expecting them to, and so I feel like that might be the root the stakes as well, that like you actually don't know which character is gonna like make it or what like the point of any character is. Again, this is just 8 episodes, so this will be really quick, but it does air once a week, and so like it's gonna take at least a month and a half to complete. But again, just so good. It has all my attention, and I love it so much. This is just like the perfect drama to watch after my standing, because like so well done, and I'm just so happy. Like I don't know, Thai bills they've been given this year, just bills in general across the board, across all regions, be it Japanese, Taiwanese, Korean, like all of them are just given this year, and like I am just so happy. I don't know what it is, like it's like the BL gods have come down and blessed us. But yeah, this is just like I'm so glad. I'm really happy. And so yeah, that's kind of where we are with episode 2. I really look forward to like next episode. I am curious about Great and Time because I feel like their chemistry is just on fire. Like they've not done anything, but like I already have like this like the tension is already there. Like in that one hospital scene where like he's treating his wounds, I was just like dying. Like it's just there, so yeah, I am looking forward to next episode on Friday. And yeah, that's kind of all I have to say. I feel like I could talk about this this drama forever, but that's really my first impressions about this drama. I feel like it's good, and I hope it continues to like hold my attention, and continues to be like on that high level, like just writing and directing. Fingers crossed. But yeah, that's all I have to say about this drama. My first impressions are, it's solid. Give it a watch. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys have a lovely, lovely day, and I'll see you again next week. Have a lovely one. Bye.